Welcome to this episode of Orion Now. We're on location, we're out of the studio today. We're going to visit 3 amazing sites in Orion Township. 1 nostalgic and 2 exciting and new. So stick with us for this episode of Orion Now. Welcome back. Today we're going to visit Powers Distributing, an amazing location in Orion that distributes beer to the Tri-County area. But first, we're at station number 2 in Orion Township, one of our 4 fire stations. And we're here with our Fire Chief, Bob Smith. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, Chris. I'm glad to be here, and we'll going to give the people a little bit of nostalgia here, and then we're going to move on.
So we're here today, and this is kind of a really important day in the history of the Orion Township Fire Department. This building we're standing in front of, we're on East Silverbell Road.
Yep.
And this building was built when?
1986, we moved into it, January of 1986, and I was actually one of the group of first firefighters to move into this building.
So 28 years ago, this became our 3rd fire station, or is this our
Correct,
3rd?
correct. But it was called station number 2, but it was actually the 3rd station.
Right. So station number 2 has been here for 28 years, and we're growing. Right. We're tight on space.
Tight is yes, very tight. The guys have to actually walk sideways in this station.
So we're going to take you in a moment, but before we do that, the reason today is such an exciting day is because we're moving.
You better believe we're moving. And I'm glad that there's not a foot of snow like there was last year at this time, so the trucks don't get dirty to go into the new station.
So if you've paid attention, we're very grateful for the support the community's given us, but we were able to pass 2 fire millages this year. One was operational, which will allow all 4 of our departments, or all 4 of our stations, to be staffed 24/7. But then the other one was equipment and capital, which we're able to use to help build and construct our new station too. So talk a little bit about how we got to where we are, and I know originally your plan was to try to expand this building.
Yes, when the developers came in to develop property next to us, I asked them for a little sliver of land, hopefully that we could have expanded. This station here doesn't have female facilities at all. It doesn't have a shower room for them, no sleeping quarters whatsoever. And to be able to go to a 24-hour shift, I need sleeping quarters and that. Anyway, back from, they couldn't give us a sliver of land, so when you came on board as our supervisor, you and I spent hours driving around. We found a piece of property over on Giddings Road, and we started this endeavor. They started breaking ground in March, and they came in under budget, in the amount of time they said it would be. So this is why this is the big day. We're moving.
All right, so we're moving. Before we move, we're going to invite you inside to take a look at where we've called home for the last 28 years. So come on inside. So we're inside now, and a little bit about this building, and some things that might be interesting to people are we keep our largest truck that the township, our fire department fleet has here. Talk a little bit about what that is and why we keep it here.
The aerial truck that we keep here, Chris, is an 85-foot aerial truck, and the reason we keep it down in this area is because of all the industrial area down here, and to be able to get up on the roofs of the industrial areas and that. So that's why it's important to keep it in this area.
Right, so most of you are familiar, we have a General Motors plant that's just about a mile to not even quite a mile to our west, where we're currently at. And we recently were out there with the aerial truck on a scene, on a fire, and so that takes up, as you can tell, a large portion of the footprint we have in this building. When we get to the new place, you'll see how we've grown. So we're currently standing up on the mezzanine, and this is where we were able to store equipment. It's empty now because we have been starting to move and clean things out to make way for the next owner of the building, who's actually Tony Battaglia, who owns the Palazzo de Bacci. I'm sure many people are familiar with that. So we transitioned this property with Tony in a land swap. So the township acquired 20 or so acres of parkland in exchange for this building. So we're excited about that. We're excited about moving forward. And right underneath us is a training room slash bunk room slash kitchen, right? So
Yes.
that's one of the main reasons. The other reason, now that we are going to be 24/7, there will be someone in each station all the time. Talk a little bit about why this is inadequate for what that type of operation is.
Well, as you pointed out, Chris, downstairs, the training room and everything is all incorporated. That's where the bunk bed is now for anybody that stands by, and they're in the middle of the training room. I had no separate facilities for them or anything like that, and we do have females on the department, and it's not fair to them to be able to share like that without having their own space and that. This, for some reason, was not conducive of having females on the department. So.
And I guess before we move on to the next big thing, the other thing to touch on is we are seeing a lot of growth in this area. I think historically, Station 2 has had one of the lower call volumes, calls for service, if you will, for demand. But we're starting to see a trend change, right?
Yes, it's because of all of the building that's going on down here and everything. Out of this station, a few years ago, we were probably only running probably about 20 calls a month at the most, and that was a good month. Now we're averaging 60 calls a month, so and it's just going to grow from there. Houses here are just now starting to be built, the subdivisions and that, so I anticipate by next summer this will probably be one of our busier stations in the township. It'll probably surpass Station 1, which is now the busiest station.
So as of today, we're in December of 2014, we're nearing 2,300 calls. So 2,300 calls for service for the Orion Township Fire Department for 2014. Those are medical emergencies, those are structure fires, those are car accidents. Compare that to where we were a year ago and even a few years ago.
Well, actually, a few years ago, it was not too long ago, 5 years ago, we were only running about 1,700 calls for the year. Last year was our biggest year at 2,100 calls, and this, like you said earlier, we're approaching 2,400. I actually believe we'll go over 2,400 now the way it's going. So
if you come with us now, we're going to take a ride and we're going to show you where our new Station 2 is going to be on Giddings Road. So come along with us. So we made it. We're now here at 3801 Giddings Road, new home of the Orion Township Fire Department, Station number 2.
correct.
So we're here, and this is a beautiful building, obviously. Barely been used yet. You can obviously probably get a feel for the size of this building from where we just came. There's just a lot more room. We have two of our two engines here, and it looks like they're barely taking up the room of the place. So let's talk a little bit about this process. When did we start this process?
Well, we actually started looking at it the first of the year, but by the time we got everything all settled and contract signed and basically getting ready to break ground, it was right around the 15th, 16th of March.
Okay. So the great news that you touched on earlier, but I'm pretty proud of, I think that we worked really well as a team, is the building cost was just under $1.9 million. We are going to finish under budget and ahead of schedule, which is rare, I think, and especially as busy as all these trades are now that the economy's picked up. So that's great news. Tell me a little bit about how this building. We kind of copied something we already have, right?
Yes, our Station 3 that we just opened up about 3 years ago. Basic same footprint. I didn't want to spend a lot of money trying to redesign or anything like that. Our biggest thing is this one's got a flat roof. The other one was more conducive to a residential area, and this is an industrial area. But other than that, I made the training room was quite a bit bigger. I moved some things around to make that, because my hope in the future is to have a training tower and this become our main training station for the whole department and surrounding departments. So that's a couple of big changes. Other than that, if you walk into Station 3, it's going to basically look the same.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, because we had that footprint and we've been using it for a couple years now, we're able to move a column here or there and make this area a little wider and this area narrower. But what you're going to find when you come inside is all the things we were lacking at the old Station 2 we're going to have here now, right?
Yes, we've got 2 bunk rooms now. I have a complete shower facility for the females, a bigger and nicer shower facility for the males. We have a day room, so after hours at night they can kick back and rest after a long call and stuff like that. Better kitchen facilities. There's just overall everything is bigger and better.
And right behind you there's a room that doesn't have the compressor in it yet, but that's a special area. And what is that area for?
That's our for working on our self-contained breathing apparatus, and the firefighters basically call them SCBAs. That's what they put on when they go into a house fire or any kind of a toxic situation where they can't breathe air normally. So that's going to be our repair station over there.
Great. So why don't you come with us and we'll kind of give you a little tour of the inside of this building.
One of the first things you'll notice is the width between the truck and the wall. As you saw over at the old Station 2, practically had to go sideways to get around. So we've got this nice big area that we can walk. Excuse the mess, we're still moving in and everything, but this is going to be the write-up desk when the guys come back, the firefighters come back, and be able to sit there, fill out the paperwork, and get all of their information all set up and everything before they go on to their next duty.
So in this room is our training room. This is where a lot of the training happens in the day-to-day activities. So
this training room here is designed to hold 40 firefighters for training comfortably. We have over here we have the board, but we have a recessed screen to be able to pull down to show videos on and stuff like that.
And one of the things a lot of people don't realize is we have these full-time firefighters, but they are constantly getting more education, and it's required, right?
Correct. They will be either doing maintenance, running calls, or training all day long. This is not something where you just come in and stay stagnant. They have to be constantly trained and stuff like that. Continuing education for medical. They have to continually practice putting on their SCBAs and stuff like that. So when they get out on the scene, it's second nature to them. They have to stop and think, where's this button or where's that bell and stuff like that.
So part of the training room, as you can see, is our kitchen. This will be where they'll be preparing their meals. Those firefighters that are staying overnight, they work a 24-hour shift. So they come in at 8 in the morning and they leave 8 o'clock the next morning. So obviously it's important to give them a proper area to prepare their meals.
There's a couple things that I'm kind of really happy about, is the fact now we have separate bunk rooms for 2 firefighters staying here or 1 female staying here, and that way they're separated, but yet they're together and be able to go out on a call at night if they have to.
Which we had no bunk rooms at the old station. So you'll see that the accommodations are pretty sparse. This is not luxury, but it gets the job done. So the area we're in now is the day room, is what's called the day room, correct?
Yes, but actually it's after hours at night, after they got all their work done for the day, and they'll come in here at night and relax and probably have some dinner in here and watching TV. But this is just to give them a little bit of comfort while they're on duty, because again, as we point out several times, they're here 24 hours, so they're ready to go.
And a matter of fact, just now as we're filming, we got a call and they went to the call. So
I think I'm going to actually call that my first official call out of the station.
First official call, and maybe we have it on camera. So then directly adjacent to where we are right now in the day room are the men's and women's locker facilities, which is a big upgrade from station number 2 because there we have one restroom. Here we have separate facilities for men and women, and we do currently have women on the fire department. We anticipate we'll continue to get more and more women, so a big step in a positive direction for the department. Correct. So, Bob, Chief Smith, thanks for taking time to give us a tour. 2014 has certainly been a big year for the Orion Township Fire Department.
Yes, it has, Chris, and I appreciate you bringing the audience over here. I wanted everybody to see this. I'm showcasing it. I love this place already.
Yeah, we're really grateful for the community support, and we know that 2015 will probably be even a bigger year for the fire department. But that will wrap this segment, and I hope you'll join me right after the break. We're going to go directly across the street to Powers Distributing. There is some amazing things happening over there, so be right back.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back. We are at the Beverage World Magazine Wholesaler of the Year for 2014, our very own Powers Distributing. Join me for the next few minutes and let's see what they do inside this amazing warehouse. So welcome to the heart of Powers Distributing right here in Orion Township. I'm joined today by Dave Kessman. He's the Director of Operations for Powers. Dave,
pleasure.
Thanks for inviting us in. And this is someplace I'm kind of excited about. I like my beer, you know, a little bit of all of this stuff, I think, in moderation, of course.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about, first of all, Powers Distributing in Orion Township. You guys have been here since when?
Since 1998. We moved from Sylvan Lake area.
Okay, so 1998, you guys moved to Orion Township, and you obviously weren't what we see at this, right now. I know you've added on a couple of times, right?
We have.
Right,
we
so
have.
In this behemoth of a building, you have a lot of beer.
We do.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna before we get into how this all happens and what happens here on a nightly basis, I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of things that are interesting to me and I think might be interesting to our community. Powers Distributing has a real passion for protecting the environment. And first off, there's two ways you do that. One with something that's on your roof, but two with your fleet. So let's talk about your fleet first.
Our fleet, 2011, we won the Beverage World Fleet of the Year, and we are a hybrid fleet running on biodiesel fuel.
That's pretty amazing. And I know at that time, I think you were the largest hybrid fleet in at least our region and maybe the nation, I think I heard. So pretty cool. Let's talk about your roof for a minute.
Okay.
So you put this new addition on and installed some really neat equipment we're going to go check out in a minute here. But you also put something on the roof.
We did. On our recycling building across the street, we put an array of solar panels up. That finished, I want to say, the spring of this year.
Right, and it's one of the largest in the regions, I believe, right?
I want to say it's the third largest in the state.
That's pretty
amazing. The largest being right across the street with the Orion plant.
Right. So we kind of have this little sector in our community that's really kind of going green, so pretty neat. So this operation, you've been here since 1998 in Orion. You distribute a lot of beer every night to 2 counties. Tell me what is the biggest challenge in running an operation like this? What's your biggest challenge on a daily basis?
Well, one of our biggest goals is to get the right beer to the right customer at the right time, and provide our customers the opportunity to make the money, and our consumers the opportunity to sample and to enjoy as much beer as they possibly can behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes on behind to do that, and those things are internal challenges. But you know, our biggest goal is to get the right beer to the right customers.
Now, what is your #1 selling beer?
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
By
Miller.
far.
All right. What's your favorite personal beer? Do you have one?
Miller Lite.
No, that's a company line. All right. I've seen like 10 that I really like, and I've seen like 10 cases around me that I'd like to try sometime. And you talked about that briefly, but you have a separate facility right here on the campus that handles your recycling.
We do, and that's where they pull into over there. We bale all of our aluminum. We bale all of our, and you can see a lot of plastic wrap around the warehouse. We bale all of that and ship that back for responsible recycling.
Right. I know that Gary Thompson has got a huge push for recycling. I mean, I know he's kind of the driving force, but I know you guys don't throw out much. There's not much that goes to a landfill from this facility.
There's hardly anything. We recycle all of our office paper, our cardboard, our plastic, our aluminum. There's not much that we don't recycle. So
very cool. So hey, let's do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to see how all these 20,000 cases are going to get put together.
Perfect.
Be right back. Welcome back. We are here in the heart of the warehouse of Powers Distributing. I'm here back with Dave. And Dave, what do we call this area? Where are we at right now?
Towards the back of the warehouse, it's actually our pick module in the center of what we do as far as production for the evening.
Great. So there is, first of all, there's a lot of beer flying by us here, which I like. So can you tell me a little bit about what's going on here? I mean, there's all kinds of different beer. How are these cases of Killian's and these things like getting on here? Is this manual or is there a computer?
From here, yes. From here it's manual. These are the slower moving packages that we have back in this pick module area. I have a guy on each level of the pick module that's hand throwing that beer onto conveyors. It comes down here and then the computer systems are telling which case to throw onto the conveyor and up front for the next pallet of beer that we're building.
Great, so you have 21 trucks, right?
21 trucks, we'll do about 20,000 cases tonight.
So this is every single night, those trucks come back, they bring back the empties.
Yep.
And then they get reloaded, and we're here in the afternoon. So obviously there's a rhyme and a reason to this. How are we getting this setup of cases like this in this order?
Orders are sent by the salesman. From there they go into a computer system, and then you have 4 different computers that are talking to each other, asking in different locations throughout the pick system which case to pick at which time, so that they get they get loaded for the right account on the right pallet.
So we're going to walk down, and when we see all this stuff going down to the pallet, it'll all get wrapped in a pallet, and each pallet's going to go to a separate store or customer?
Yep.
Okay. Amazing. So where do you deliver to?
We deliver primarily, actually only, to Oakland and Macomb County. We do all of the Kroger, Meijer, Walmarts, liquor stores, and bars.
Okay. So just in about the last 2 minutes, there's probably been 30 different kinds of beers that have rolled by me. How many different beers do you guys distribute here?
Different packages or different brands?
Well, different packages.
We have about a little over 1,500 different packages now on hand.
Wow. Beer lover's dream right here in Orion Township. 1,500 packages, and of that, there's not 1,500 kinds of beers, but they all come in different shapes and sizes?
Yes. Yep.
So how many people does it take to run this operation? Because this seems pretty automated, pretty amazing. I see a lot of laser sensors and things like that. This is not the old way of doing things, right?
Certainly not. We have about 14 people right now that'll load 20,000 cases of beer tonight.
That's unbelievable. How much of that will they drink? That's a joke. 0.
Right.
How long have you been here, Dave?
I've been at Powers for almost 13 years. Spent the first 11 years as in sales, and moved over to the operations side about a year and a half ago.
Cool. So what happens, like on the car line, when you have a problem, the whole thing comes to a stop? What happens here? Does it ever get backed up? I mean, it seems like it's pretty fluid.
It does get backed up. Most of the guys that are working know how to fix any problems that we have, whether it be a photo eye, the wrong package, a package like this comes apart and doesn't sense it correctly. So most of them know how to fix things, and it doesn't hold us back too often.
Have you ever done this job before?
Every Thursday night.
That's interesting.
Every Thursday night I come back and I'll relieve these guys in this big module for their lunches. If nothing else, it gives me a great workout.
You skip the gym on Thursdays? Does that count?
That's it.
All right, great. Well, we're going to go to the next step and see how this all gets wrapped together from this to the palletizing. So
Okay.
see you there.
Sounds good.
We're back, and we survived the palletizer. Is that what we call this machine?
That's the palletizer. This is the finishing touches to the orders that get built.
It's a pretty amazing machine. So what's happening here is all those cases that were on the conveyors are being grouped here by the order, totally computerized, put on a pallet. So roughly, how many cases are on a pallet?
It depends, anywhere from 98 if they're all cans to 49 if they're bottles, and depending on how they're tied in there.
And I mean, this is a small one. That guy needs to sell more.
Yeah.
But
right.
So the big orders, the computer just figures out how to stack it the most efficient way so that it's not gonna.
It does. And then anything that doesn't conform to within a half an inch, so that they don't tip, comes down the conveyor that you can see there, and the two guys up there that are hand stacking, they're topping off those pallets, and then it heads down to the wrap machine.
So 20,000 cases is how many pallets roughly? Obviously depends on the orders, but
600 to 700 pallets.
so every night 600 to 700 pallets. And those guys we saw running back and forth, how many cases will they load a night?
They'll physically handle 2,500 to 3,000 cases a night.
How much? Wow. Those
and about
guys are ripped.
32 pounds a case.
Are they
so
really?
It's a good workout.
So that's why you're so in such good shape on
right.
Thursday night. So before you had this high-tech equipment, I can imagine you have 14 people doing 20,000 cases. How many? I mean, any idea how many people it would take to do an operation like this by hand?
Probably a few more than 14.
That's a good. You should be a politician.
Right.
So we got the trucks all queued up here,
Yep.
and once they get filled up, do they stay in this area until the morning, or do they park outside?
No,
or?
no, they're actually moved outside. They're plugged in so that their engine blocks don't freeze overnight.
Okay.
And then the drivers come in the morning and they'll get them from the yard and then take off.
Okay. So what's the most difficult part of this entire process, if there is one? Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's getting the sales guys to get the orders in.
Actually, no. Probably the most difficult part is getting committed people that have the same vision that we have and want to come in and put forth the hard work in working towards one goal. And of course, that's selling more beer.
Right. And one of the things that we didn't touch on yet is I know you guys have a full-service print shop, probably the most state-of-the-art print shop in all of Orion. And so anything promotional, all the stuff that you see in the stores, you guys provide all that, right? You print it right here?
Yes, and actually we do a lot of work for Pepsi as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we do a lot of business with signs.
All told, in Orion Township, how many employees call Powers Distributing their home?
Right about 250.
Wow. That makes you probably our third largest employer, which is pretty neat. You can't top GM across the street, but
right? Maybe someday.
Yeah. Never. That's a lot of beer.
That's right.
Well, listen. I want to thank you very much, Dave, for your time
Absolutely.
and kind of showing us behind the scenes here. What an awesome operation, and in spite of the fact that you're from Clarkston. I'm kidding.
Go
But
Wolves.
thank you for coming on today on Orion Now, and we look forward to more exciting episodes. So see you next time.
Thanks.